Now the topic is multiplier mechanism or investment multipliers. Okay, so investment multipliers. We all know that due to the investment in any business, when we increase the investment in any business or institution or any firm, so according to it the income is also be increased rapidly. Okay, so this was called the investment multiplier. That means when we increase the investment value, investment limit, according to it the income will also be increased. Okay, so let's we discussed it about taking an example. Okay, suppose our investment is increased by rupees 50 crore. Okay, that means delta I is 50 crore, and so because of this the income will also be increased to 300 crore. That means the delta Y is 300 crore. Okay, so that means due to the change in the investment by 50 crore, income will also be increased to 30 crore. Okay, so in this case the value of the multiplier will be calculated by K equals to delta Y divided by delta I. Okay, that means 300 divided by 50 equals to 6. That means the 6 was the value of investment multiplier. Okay, so it is the ratio to be changed in the national income. Okay, so to be changed in the investment. Okay, so that means the multiplier can introduce us about the increment of the income due to the investment. Okay, so K equals to delta Y divided by delta I. So here K is the multiplier, delta Y is the change in the income, and delta I is the change in the investment. Okay, so for this way one more formula is to be formed, that is K equals to 1 upon 1 minus MPC. 1 minus MPC means when we subtract MPC from the income, that means marginal propensity to consume is to be subtracted from the total income, then we get MPS, marginal propensity to save. Okay, so it can be also be written in another form, that is K equal to 1 upon MPS. Okay, so let's we discuss this within table. Okay, so in this table we take two columns, MPC, and one is K minus 1 upon 1 minus MPC. Okay, so where in first case MPC is 0, so when we put MPC as 0 then our multiplier is 1. Okay, when we decrease the value of increase the value of MPC, that means 0.25, and put in the formula, then our multiplier is 1.3. when we increase MPC as 0.5 and put in the formula, then we get multiplier of 2. Okay, and at the end when we take MPC is 1, that means the equal to the income. Okay, and 1 was our income. So when we consume all the value of income, when we spend all income, then when we put it in a formula, then our answer is, that means the MPS is infinite. That means when we spend 100% of our income, then we cannot save any part of the income. Okay, so at that time the multiplier value is to be infinite. Okay, so now before we understanding the mechanism of the multiplier, we have to know according to this table, as we consumed that the income of a person is just same to the expenditure of the another person. Okay, that means when we spend some amount, okay, then it will be the income for another one. Okay, suppose when we go to market for purchasing some clothes, okay, so we purchase clothes, so then we spend our money. Okay, Suppose the value of one dress is 2000 rupees, so we can pay 2000 for the shopkeeper. Okay, so at that time the 2000 rupees was the expenditure for us. Okay, and those shopkeeper can take it. Okay, so it was the income for him. Okay, so that means the mechanism is that the income of a person is just same to the expenditure of another person. Okay, so let's be understand it by taking an example. Okay, so suppose government decide to invest 100 crore extra for the road construction. Okay, so at that time the delta I, that means the investment, is equal to 100 crore. Okay, so government have to spend those 100 crore for purchasing materials, labor, engineers for construction and other construction work. Okay, so therefore because of this spending of the government, the income of another person will also be increased up to 100 crores. Okay, that means the delta Y, that means the income, is equals to 100 crore. Okay, so that's why the income and spending of two different parties will be equal to, that is 100 crore. Okay, so when we spend 100 crore for any work, then the another party who can do the work and get money is also getting income as 100 crore. Okay, so this was the first case of multiplier mechanism. Okay, on the another case, second case, so in second case the government will have to save some amount from the expenditure amount. Okay, because in every field, or if they are individual person of or an aggregate label, everyone can wants to save some money, okay, from their spending. So this is depend upon the value of MPC, marginal propensity to consume, that what amount we should have to consume out of our income and what should we to save. Okay, so suppose the value of MPC is 0.6, that is 60% of the income. So we will spend or consume, and 40% is to be saved as an MPC. Okay, that means out of 100 we can consume 60% and save 40%. Okay, so for this, let's we discuss mechanism of multiplier with an example, with an help of scheduled table. Okay, so look at the table. So in this table we can assume that MPC, marginal propensity to consume, is 0.6, that we have to consume only 60% of our income. Okay, in each and every case. So here we take 4 rounds. Okay, so the increase in investment, that means delta I, is 100 crore. Okay, what will we have to take an example. Okay, and increase in income, that means delta Y, is also 100 crore in first case. Okay, so now we decided that the increase in consumption, delta C, we have to consume only 60%. Okay, so out of 100 the consumption is 60 and the investment saving is 40. Okay, now in the second case, our income is 60. Okay, that what will we consume, what will we spend for buying something, it was the income for the next person. Okay, so in the second case the income will be 60. Okay, so out of 60 we have to consume 60% of it. Okay, so the 60% of 60 is 36 and remaining 24 will be the saving. Okay, in third case, that 60% what will we have to consume was the income for the third party. Okay, so in this case we can consume 60% of 36, that is 21.6, and the remaining 14.4 is to be saved. Okay, now in fourth case, the consumption of the previous case, that means 21.6 was the income for the fourth party. Okay, so in this case we can consume 60% of 21.6. Okay, that means 12.96, and the remaining 8.64 will be the saving amount. Okay, so according to these 4 cases, now the next thing is total. Okay, increase in investment is 100, increase in income is 250, increase in consumption is 150, and increase in income is 100. Okay, so now look at the table. Okay, on the total case, the K, that means the multiplier is always the 1 upon 1 minus MPC. Okay, that means the total consumption is to be subtracted from the total income. Okay, that means 1 upon 1 minus total consumption is 0.6. Okay, so the multiplier is 2.5. Okay, so now look at the total row of total. The total investment is 100, and the income, that means the multiplier, what we have to consume is 2.5% of the total investment, that means 250. Okay, so this was the multiplier case. Okay, so now we express this table in form of the diagrammatic form. Okay, so look at the diagram. Here we take x-axis as a income and output and y-axis as a aggregate demand. Okay, so this line from the 0 is 45 degree, and the aggregate supply line, that means y equal to as. Okay, and the blue line indicate aggregate demand curve. Look at the blue line from D to AD bracket C plus I. Okay, and both of them, that means the line of 45 degree aggregate supply and the line of ADC plus I, that means aggregate demand curve, is intersecting each other at point C, that means the equilibrium point. Okay, so according to this, 0y, from 0 to y will be the equilibrium income line. Okay, now we increase the investment up to delta I. Okay, the investment will be increased from I to delta I. Okay, so in this case, AD1, that means the green line. Okay, AD1 bracket C plus I plus delta I is indicated by green line, that is intersecting the aggregate supply E point. Okay, so that is the new equilibrium point according to this new equilibrium income. Okay, so the point 0 from y dash is to be new income line. Okay, so here the increase in the income is from y to y dash, and increase in the investment is delta I. Okay, so there delta I, that means increased investment, is less than the delta y, that means increase in the income. So this is because multiplier mechanism. So in this case, the third step of mechanism, that is when the income is to be increased speedily than the investment. Okay, so this was the whole procedure of the mechanism multiplier. So the next topic is paradox of thrift. Okay, first of all we have to know that what is the paradox of thrift. So it means that if all the peoples in an economy increase the proportion of income they save to total value saving in the economy will not be increase, even it will be either decline. Okay, that means if each and every person wants to only to save the amount, then they cannot do any consumption. So because of decline of their consumption, the income of another person, that means the second party, will not be done. Okay, they cannot be earn anything because you don't spend money for consumption. Okay, so for that person, for the another person, they are not able to save or spend anything because they don't have any income. Okay, so this was called the paradox of thrift. In Hindi, in general language, it is called the budget samasya. Okay, so if the every person increase their saving, then MPC, marginal propensity to consume, will be decrease or decline. Okay, and as a result, the value of the saving in the economy will not be increase. So because of this, we know that the expenditure of a person will be the income of the another person. So due to this, whenever the level of consumption is decrease, as well as the level of income will also be decrease as a aggregate demand level of accent, so it will also be down. Okay, so for this, look at the diagram. So in this diagram, we had talking about the two types of parameters.